winner.
Welcome to the American Red Devils podcast. I'm John.
I'm Alex.
And we're bringing you the best Manchester United news from this side of the pond.
Woo, sir. How we doing? The run at home, those 3 points, they come to an end. United get caught out, get bit by the new manager bounce, even though Leeds don't even have a new manager yet. They sacked their American manager a little bit earlier in the week. And United, with a makeshift midfield of Fred and Sabitzer playing behind Bruno, started as bad as you can, right? Conceded in the first minute, own goal, start the second half, and then United showing good fight. To be honest, I thought we had a winner in us after we got that second goal from Jadon Sancho. So tough result, but like you said a little bit earlier, I think it's 1 point gain instead of 2 points lost because for large parts of this match, we were out of it. Midfield was so hectic, so frantic. We couldn't even retain the ball, and they were kind of all over us. And then they were packing it in. But either way, we'll get a chance to get a little bit of revenge on Sunday. We're headed up to Ellen Road. Leeds back-to-back. Who would have thought that? I'll tell you what, I missed Casemiro today. He was a huge absence. How we feeling? How we doing?
You got to unpack this one in a few different ways. You know, obviously the second half, love to see it. I think there's more good than bad here. The start is, there's no excuse for that start. Bruno, bad giveaway, horrid defending, snoozing. Fred, just a complete liability. Like, he's protecting a side of the field that isn't relevant to stopping a goal. And, like, you let that in early at home, and it's just a tough road back to get 3 points. And it was a horrid first half. We weren't clicking. The team was off. I thought Ten Hag would change it at halftime. He didn't. Leeds come out and put another one by us, and then he changed the team, and that is what made the difference, right? The changes, taking off Wout, the tall guy running around, not doing much, putting Rashford at number 9, Sancho on the left. I mean, no offense to Garnacho, wasn't his day. He had a really good chance in the first half, didn't take it. Put Palestri on the right, and we were a new team. Lindelof at CDM as well. So great changes from Ten Hag in a bad situation. You could say maybe he should have changed it earlier, but at the end of the day, he got it right. I mean, you could argue with the timing, but he got everything right, and what we saw at the end is probably what we're going to see away at Leeds this weekend. And if we see that side, Sancho on the left, Rashford at 9, Palestri, maybe Antony comes back, you see the Lindelof in the CDM position, I'm more confident in that to try to get 3 points at Leeds.
Yeah, I think definitely the front three-wise, Wout wasn't getting it done. And Garnacho just had one of those games. This is what happens when you're 18 years old, thrown into a start against a tough Leeds side in an important match because, you know, they're bouncing back after firing their manager. And he wasn't at it today. He didn't have a great game. Fred didn't have a great game. Delo didn't have a great game. And I think even, sir, I know you're going to not like this, but I think De Gea could have done better on that first goal. I think he near side, like
that's the last person to criticize. Like,
but either way,
do you see the defending on that? That was horrid from Martinez. That was horrid from Varane.
He's
Fred
out of position.
Was just like no man's land. Delo was doing nothing. That was just like 4 people that should be like switched on, ready to defend. They did not do it. So like, yeah, at the end of the day, like could have De Gea. Maybe one defender gets beat, De Gea might be able to do something, but 4 were snoozing. That was horrific. That was some Ole, that was some like Harry Magoo defending. That was some like Ole start at Old Trafford. We haven't seen that from Ten Hag, and he's got to get him in gear because we can't bleed out. It's okay. I think finishing strong at home, you get the point. We were pushing for the winner. We probably would have gotten the winner if we played a little longer. So I think the vibe is net positive here. I think what we realized was, man, Delo is rusty. Sabitzer, what? Fred can't do a job to save his life. He was trying to give the game away at the end of it. He can't score a goal. He can't defend. He's completely all over the board. And yeah, when you have Erickson and Casemiro, can he come in and do a job? Like he can if Casemiro is bailing him out, but he's not like he's unlocking the attack going forward. He's a player that Manchester United defines Manchester United. He is Manchester United for where we have been over the last 10 years. Just not good enough in any way, shape, or form with no plan.
No, I thought Sabitzer did well today. All things considered, Fred did not do well today.
He did not do well.
Hold on.
Sabitzer did
give me
not
a check.
do well.
Give me you interrupted me because
No
I talked to you. Keep interrupting me because you're talking about your boy De Gea. Like he's in. Like come on, dude. You could have done better. That's not the point. You're right. The defense didn't show up in that first minute. Didn't show up for large parts of the first half. Sabitzer did fine. It's just that Fred. It's a big step up. It's like you expect to have a Casemiro in the midfield pulling the strings. He's arguably the best midfielder in the league, especially at his position. He is the best midfielder in his position in the league, without a doubt. And Fred, they were frantic. The midfield, I think they won the battle today. I thought McKennie looked good. I thought Adams looked good. When they're playing against Manchester United, it's like, fuck those It's like, I have no love for them. It's amazing. It's like, as soon as it's United and the USA is out of the picture as of 2 months ago because the World Cup being over, it's amazing how that bad blood just comes out, especially when there's like a little bit of a scrap in the second half, like Luke Shaw getting involved, McKennie standing over one of our players. But this is the thin squad, and this is what happens. You have injuries. Erickson, he's done, for most of the season. Casemiro is missing the game because of that red card, dubious red card. And Fred is just a player that I think at the end of the day has to get us through the end of the summer. Sabitzer would be an upgrade immediately. It's like his first start in the Premier League, and he played better than he did. And Fred is the end of an era, sir. It's like he's a player, 55 million pounds, never lived up to it. He's one of those like City traps. We bought him because City wanted him. Same with Maguire. Same with what's his name, Sanchez. And that's just a losing recipe. And at the end of the day, he got to go when we do a proper like upheaval of this squad. He could do a job like you said, but tale of two halves. First half left a bad taste in your mouth. Second half showed a lot of fight. It was great to see. The manager got it right. Love to see Facundo involved in that first goal. Rashford with another great finish. Sancho gets his goal. I think there's optimism to grab a hold of. It's just that these two next league matches without Casemiro, we need to, like I said, we need to stop the bleeding. We need to get back to business, and we need to pick up 3 points starting with Sunday.
It's clear. I mean, what we saw today was Manchester United doesn't have a midfield. Like, what does Bruno do in the midfield? It's not like when Erickson and Casemiro aren't there. It's like Erickson and Casemiro are the team. When they're gone, it's like you put Fred and Sabitzer in there. And yeah, it's his first start. I'm going to give him a pass. Wasn't great. He was way too timid. Him and Fred were like jawing at each other. No one knew where to be or what position they were playing. It was a mess. And McKennie, who's literally playing his first game for Leeds, and Tyler Adams like bossed the field. We lost the battle in the midfield at home, and it was because of who we had out there. Those guys were not up to the task. I would take McKennie all day over Sabitzer based on that first performance. They were working all over the pitch. Sabitzer looked timid, didn't know what to do. And like, I get you're going to be lost in this side, and we got to give him time. But man, the level of drop off between Erickson and Casemiro to go to Fred and Sabitzer, I mean, like, give me McFred again. At the end of the day, it's like we need something in there, and I think Lindelof is probably the solution. He came on, looked great. He looked really composed, passing the ball around. We need someone to calm it down. We were just completely out of control. The whole game was out of control. Like, I felt like Varane was shaky, Delo was shaky, and we had to figure it out while we had to build the plane while we were flying it, and Eric Ten Hag did a great job at that, and we ended up getting a point. So this one just has to be like, eventually not having depth was going to catch up to us. Eventually the Glazers, like, not backing this team at all was going to catch up to us. Eventually having a Wout run around doing nothing is going to catch up to this team. I mean, it's just the facts. Like, everyone wants to go on like a Wout hype train, but he's a nobody. He didn't score. He got booted from Burnley, and he's doing the same job at United, and we have no one else who can play there. So at the end of the day, it's not helping us. And you take him off the field, all of a sudden we start scoring goals. It's pretty simple to me that we have a bunch of players who shouldn't be wearing the shirt at Manchester United, and we got to get these owners out to get some better quality in so we can actually be challenging for titles. And if the worst thing that happened today is we got 1 point, I'm okay with it. You got to be thinking glass half full here, because Ten Hag is punching with one arm behind his back. Look at that team he put out there today. I mean, for us to finish strong and get a point, that's a big deal.
Yeah, I'm not going to shit on everybody in the team. I thought like Bruno, he get the ball away in the first minute, but everything that was excited in this game, he was involved with. I think Sabitzer will grow into a player with value for this club. And at the end of the day, Wout, he shouldn't be starting every game, but that's not his fault. That's only because Martial is not a player that we can count on week in, week out by any means, because he's always injured and he has to go as well. And he should be coming off the bench when we got to hoofball, because at some point in this game, it got to hoofball. And obviously Rashford showed a more composed finish header than we've even seen with Wout yet. But like, it's a little unfair to him because we just have to start him because we have
Rashford,
no other option.
Yeah, but you don't have to play him. You can play Rashford at 9. You can play Sancho on the left.
But then you have to play Rashford every single game, and he needs.
Yes, you have to play Rashford every single game. You have to play him every single game.
That's the thinness of the squad I'm talking about. We've been invested in, and you know what? You could have used Sabitzer.
Yeah, but I'm not going to sit here and say a guy who couldn't hack it for a Burnley who got relegated should be our starting number 9. Like, I'm sorry, I'm sure he's a nice guy. Just like he runs around, his layoff and passing play isn't horrible, but he's not helping us score goals. I mean, that is really what you should be doing as a striker. Like, he does some good things on the pitch. He's a tall guy, 6'6". I can outrun him, sir. I don't think that qualifies
you cannot outrun him, sir. I'll tell you what. I can't wait for that bet. Well, we're going to run someday in Dubai, and there's going to be a perfect pitch waiting. He's going to have his cleats on. John's going to be... He's going to run out of excuse factory. I'll tell you what. You think I run the excuse factory? This guy's a number one excuse factory. Never. He's a professional athlete, and he's got, first of all, 7 years of youth on you. Gives respect to Wout. I think it's just he's been put in an unfair position. It's like he shouldn't be starting every week. He shouldn't be starting every week, bro.
I'm going to get you a Wout kit for your birthday.
I'm good. At least it's on number 7.
Quick PSA for the podcast. If you like the American Red Devils and our hot takes, we're giving you the passionate Muppet take from the couch. We're not trying to explain to you how the game works. We're just having that biased fan take here. And we don't have any sponsors. We go the direct fan support route. If you want to support us, don't support Wout. Support us. Patreon.com/American Red Devils. There's tons of benefits. We do an extra behind-the-scenes podcast every single month. So sign up. Support the podcast. Help us keep the lights on here in the podcast bunker. Also, check out our website, americadevils.com. Great blog content, and our store, AmericanRedDevils.store. We have our scarves, hoodies, shirts, you name it. If Patreon's not your thing, pick something up at the store. Support the pod. Come on, United. Let's go. Tell them about iTunes reviews.
iTunes reviews or 5-star reviews of the American Red Devils podcast. Wherever you listen, it's a great way to support the pod. It helps us get found organically, and even better, you can talk about how much you love Wout Weghorst in your review just to get under John's skin. But seriously, it is a great way to help the American Red Devil pod, and even better, we are having a extra special free giveaway if you send a screenshot of your 5-star review to americandevils@gmail.com with your mailing address. We're giving away Glazer out scarves. The thinness in the squad, it's because of the Glazers. Almost 2 decades of them. So what better way to show how you feel about them than wearing the green and gold? A American Red Devil original. And like I said, all you have to do is write that review. 5 stars, send it in to our Gmail with your mailing address. Here is a 5-star review from Papa Dud. Agree or disagree, the analysis is fun to listen to. I enjoy listening to the back and forth between two clear fans of a great club. I often find myself mentally arguing with one host or the other. It is always a fun walk to listen after a game. We are spicy today. It's extra picante. It's just I'm in a mood. I wanted 3 points. Didn't get 3 points. Here we are. How we doing, John? Tell what else? What else? The giant freak Wout Weghorst. What else he got? You got to get him again. Cut him again.
Okay. I will cut him later. Just don't worry about that.
I know you will.
I love this review because it's like exactly the right review for the pod. Me and Alex are not right. We are Muppets. Like, we love this club. We're biased in our takes. Every fan has their view. That's what being a Manchester United fan is all about. I mean, you see all the craziness, all the freezing cold takes on Twitter. We've had our freezing cold takes. It's about having fun, being passionate about the club, and being a fan. And if you disagree or have any hot takes of your own, we got our fan question segment. So find it on Twitter, reply to it. Let us know what you disagree with. We'd love to start arguing with our Twitter followers as well.
Discord.
It's about having fun, And I will say one thing to Wout. We started crossing the ball when he left the pitch.
He did. We did.
So we're playing Wout like he is in Fellaini. We're playing him like he's like Martial, and he actually is very good on the ball, like very good on the ball, but it's not helping us score goals, right? And that is my main issue. Is you put Rashford in there, you took him off, and boom, we were a completely different team. And we need to be that team, not the Wout running around really slower than me team. So let's get into it. Manchester United 2, Leeds 2, Old Trafford. Let's get into that lineup. Dave saves world number 1 in net. Luke Shaw, Martinez, Varane, Dalot is back at right back. The new midfield, Fred, Sabitzer, Bruno Fernandes in the hole, Rashford on the right, Garnacho on the left, and Wout up top. What'd you make of this lineup?
You know, it was good to see Dalot in the mix. I was excited for Garnacho to get a start. Anthony he's like a hammy issue, apparently. That's why he was unavailable. AWB, he got sick. That's why he's unavailable. So interesting to see that this was not probably a intended start for Dalot in this match, like getting thrown into the deep end. He did not have a great game. But the midfield is what gives you heartburn. It's just, midfield was the weakness before Eriksen and Casemiro showed up. Bruno had been doing an admirable job, like carrying the flag, but the drop down is huge, and that's where the battles were today. It was all in the midfield. They were packing it in, and yeah, we know how it went, sir.
Jumping into the first half, start us off. Leeds scum get the best of us
in the first minute.
To begin with, Monto, always powerful, always lively. What a start! Leeds United.
What a start. Everybody does poorly on this. Bruno gives it away. None of the defenders pick it up at all. They all back off. Dalot, Varane. Even the butcher himself, who grew into the game, Martinez. If you look at Dea's feet, he's out of position. But like you said, it's a great goal. It's a great finish. United caught out. And it's not like we settled our feet right away after this goal.
There was the 4 United players all around him. They did nothing, and he scored. It's like that's not it.
Sorry, I'm just calling it like I see it. Muppet to Muppet. I'm calling it. I know he's your boy, and if I say anything about
but there's 4. It's not like there's one He had 4
defenders.
Bodies.
Dude,
4 defenders.
Fred does nothing. Martinez does nothing. Varane does nothing.
Fred ran up the field. Fred protected.
It's a chump. It's like a Ralph Rangnick goal. It's a goal that we conceded last year. We just didn't have our heads about us. We're not playing aggressively. We're not closing down defenders. They're coming at you as you would expect, and we get caught out.
I mean, this is just I was furious, sir. You sounded like this game really got to you today. How did this feel to watch this goal go in?
Why don't you tell me? How did it feel? It was not good. But I thought we would have woken up. But like the way the first half went, it was frustrating because it was like roller derby stuff. It was just we had no composure in the middle of the field. We get the ball, we give it away. Fred had some of these ghost passes. Literally, we like trying to switch play, and he would just give it to them, and then all of a sudden they'd be on the break, which also continued to the second half. So.
We got dominated in the first 15 minutes here. 11th minute, De Gea with a big save. United were completely out of sorts. 14th minute, Sabitzer with a good chance. This came from a Licha bicycle kick pass to him in the box. He goes over, couldn't keep it down. 18th minute, this is the chance for Garnacho, picked out by Bruno. Blasts it wide. He should score there, but obviously he's a young player, did not get it in. 27th minute, Garnacho beats the keeper one-on-one, but his shot is blocked off the line. Another great opportunity here. I thought he did well. He was composed. Just a great goal line clearance by the Leeds defender. 31st minute, Sabitzer tests the keeper. And that was really it for the first half. We were giving it away. Midfield was just horrifically bad. I felt like we were lucky to go in. I just felt like we couldn't get a grip on this game. We couldn't, we're looking for that Casemiro in the middle of the park to calm things down, get a hold of the ball, run the show. We did not have that. Fred Sabitzer would just nowhere to be found, and we were just like a leaky bucket. So I thought Ten Hag was going to bring Lindelof in at CDM. Like I thought that was the change. Probably change out Sabitzer, put Lindelof in. I was thinking maybe move Bruno to the right. I thought he had to make a change at half. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't calling off the Lindelof one because I'm not convinced on that yet. But wow, getting a drop would have made sense. Garnacho, I mean, he just didn't have the best first half, even though the opportunities that we had to get back into the game in the first half were through him. He's usually so sharp, and Eileen, the right back, I don't rate him that much, but he had a game. He was shutting him down all game. And then you have Rashford, who played on the right, and that's just totally out of sorts. So it's like, let's switch something around. Get either Rashford up front or on the left where he's so effective. I agree with you. I thought there would have been a change from the manager, but man, it's because we only went into halftime 1 goal down. Obviously,
he did put Rashford on the left coming out after half. But again, you expect Ten Hag to make a move. He doesn't make the move. I was surprised by that because I knew basically like we were a dead man walking on the pitch. Like we had nothing with that 11 in that setup. I figured the midfield was the main problem. There was no stability in the build-up. That's why I was thinking you look at the bench, there's not a lot of moves. That's why I'm thinking Lindelof going into the midfield just so that we're not so scrambled eggs. Like you maybe put Bruno on the right wing. You take off Garnacho, Sabitzer plays 10, Fred and Lindelof in the 2, and you kind of like shore it up a little bit so then we can move on and attack. We come out of half flat, not interested. Like I'm sure he just like laid into him. That didn't even work in the 48th minute.
Including Robin Koch. Appeals of hands, but on they go. Somerville in!
There was a bit of a handball shout in the build-up. I think you see it, it's not much there. United caught out, don't do well enough, and then a bit of bad luck with Varane getting an own goal. Nobody cutting down the play and just caught snoozing, which you did not expect because like you said, Ten Hag must have laid into him at halftime, given how shit they were for large parts of the first half. And this is just a bit of bad luck, an own goal. But I think United finally will come to this.
I don't know if it's bad luck. We started horrible. They were all over us. They were all over it. Like to start the half, it's not like, something how then like random own goal. It's like they were looking to score. We were completely backed up. They were coming at us. Like we started horrifically. And then after this goal in the 59th minute, finally he changes it. Sancho and Facundo for Garnacho and Wout, and bam, complete change in this team. You get Wout off. You get Rashford at 9. 62nd minute.
Firpo has to be careful. Deleu's ball. Rashford's header! He can do no wrong right now. He just knows.
Tell you what, the boy can play on the left wing. He can play up front. Probably the best finisher in the air we have at the moment. Nice goal, and it was a totally different team. Like you said, once I made the switches, I think Wout wasn't playing well, but neither was Garnacho. And having Facundo, who's excited to play, he came in, made a difference. Deleuze, those crosses we've been waiting for. AWV offers quite a bit, but he can't cross the ball like Deleuze can. So nice ball in, and a great finish from Rashford, who's got a lot to do in this perfect header, right? It's like you put in the corner, it's hard to save. What a goal. Game on.
United are back. We're back in it. You felt it at Old Trafford, the Stretford end. What a goal. What a header. Marcus Rashford just like unstoppable. 65th minute, Aronson hits the post from a free kick. Nervy here. The American, tons of Americans playing well in the EPL. So, that's good for 2026. 70th minute, Ronaldo pushed. I thought this was a penalty.
Rashford
Rashford was pushed. I thought this was a stone cold penalty. It was shoulder to shoulder, but he was coming from behind. It was all body, no ball. I can't believe they didn't look at this one. I can't believe VAR isn't thinking about a penalty here. If you go back and rewatch it, it's pretty clear to me. And I don't like soft penalties, but you can't be like just bombing into somebody in the box. This wasn't some side-to-side like dive from Rashford. He got like absolutely bodied here. I couldn't even tweet about it because in the 70th minute we would get our goal.
Jadon Sancho making his mark.
Clever from Shaw, who gets it back from Sancho. And Sancho again in! The Leeds lead extinguished.
And at this point, I thought it was a foregone conclusion. I was like, this game is ours. We're back in it. Sancho does really well to get the ball to Shaw, and then deflected, finds Sancho, and he just puts in a strong, low ball and beats the keeper. I think the keeper has a little bit of a block going, but great goal, team goal. And I was like, we got 20 minutes left. This game is ours. Let's get into it. And I think we just ran out of mustard, sir.
Here it was in the 78th minute, the Varane header. I mean, Bruno with a great cross. Varane rises. Perfect spot. If it was a foot,
put it down. You bounce it.
But it was a great. It had some dip on it too. If it was a foot to the left, that'd be a goal. I mean, that's just a good save from the Leeds keeper. He saved them a point there. We were knocking on the door. 82nd minute, Lindelof and Malacia for Sabitzer and Delo. I actually thought Lindelof looked really good playing the CDM role. Coming on, that is worth a shout. I don't love it, but at the end of the day, like, we got to get by somehow. Someone's got to play in that position. 89th minute, Fred has a shot deflected in the box. He had a few opportunities, but again, like I said, he's not scoring these type of goals, right? He's not scoring going forward. And he also, for as many opportunities he had late in the game, he gave the ball to Leeds in dangerous areas late in the game.
He did. I mean, that's the biggest indictment. It's like, I'm not expecting Fred to go and score the winner, but when we have a tied game that we fought back into, and we need a goal, and we definitely don't need to concede, there was just a lot of sloppy giveaways. Everybody on this pod, not only rooting for Wout, we're rooting for Fred. We've been rooting for Fred for 5 years, and it's just like he just can't.
I don't know if I'm rooting for him.
All right, guy. Yeah. All right, yeah, who are you rooting for? I'm rooting for Fred. He plays for Manchester United, and I wish he could come and be the player that we all hope.
No, he lets you down. He let us down too many times, man. It's like too many times.
Let me finish my thoughts, sir. Before, I know you got a lot to say. I'm just saying is like he lets us down. He lets himself down, and he doesn't live up to the player that he is capable of, because he often loses his head in these opportunities, and he just isn't as calm on the ball. I mean, you can't compare him to Casemiro. He's world class, but it's just not good enough. And you know what? That's the problem with having a thin squad and having to rely on Fred, because he's going to be starting every game. I do like the punt of like, let's put a CDM that's not a CDM as our CDM. I think I'd prefer Sandro because he's got a little bit more pace, a little more aggressive, than pop Lindelof into center back position. But we'll see what Erik ten Hag does on the weekend, because I think we're not seeing Fred again as the number 6.
We've tried him in every single position in the midfield, try to get the best out of him, and he can't do it. I mean, like, at the end of the day, like, as playing in that position, you have to know when to not give it away or play the passes he does. He's just too erratic. It's really situational awareness. It's very, like, it's basics of football that he gets caught out on. We've seen him how many times have you seen him pass to another team, like in our box? And you see Casemiro take those passes from the keeper. It's like never puts a touch wrong. I just think there's like the basics he doesn't understand. And whenever we need to rely on him and like, hey, there's 3 games for you to step up big in our midfield, like, you don't get it. And that's really the moment where you need him to like earn his spot, is in these games. Casemiro's out. You're the guy. We need you to step up. You can't be a liability. And it's like, just like, oh my God, the Fred show. Jumping into the stats, 24 shots to United, 8 for Leeds, 7 on target for United, 2 for Leeds, 66% of the ball at Old Trafford. You look at the stat sheet, we absolutely dominated Leeds scum. Shouldn't have lost this game. We did. It was a horrid start, but we battled back. And I think seeing the fight from United, despite the issues we have with this roster, despite the disagreements we could have on some of the players and where they stand,
yeah.
This team fought back tooth and nail, that is everything United is at the end of the day. Some might not be a certain player's day, but there was fight in this team, and we're able to get a point back. And that's all that matters at the end of the day. We're still certain to get that top 4 spot for now. Match reaction since losing the first 2 games of the season. Manchester United have won 43 points in 20 Premier League matches. Only Arsenal, 44, have picked up more points in this period. Decently impressive from our new manager. Looking at the table, Arsenal, top of the table, 50 points with 20 played. City, 21 played, 45 points. Manchester United, 22 played, 43 points. If we won, we would have gone even on City, but they have a game in hand. Newcastle behind us. Now they can catch us. They played 21 games and have 40 points. If they win, we're even with 4th place Newcastle. And Tottenham coming up the table. They are only 4 points behind us with 39. They played 22. This is where it's going to get nervy. If we cannot get the job done away at Ellen Road, you're starting to look at that Tottenham. You're starting to look at Conte. And then top 4 is a question mark.
There are positives to take out of this, but Erik ten Hag, he's going to have to play some magic. He's going to have to do some swapperoos and mix things about, drop his boy Wout, probably drop Fred if he's going to get all 3 points at Ellen Road because, as you said, fixtures are piling up. United have had issues with thinness in the squad, especially with the omissions we have with 2 big holes in it. And now it's going to be about gritting it out. And today, even today, we're all salty. We're all salty because things have been good. We've been getting lots of wins. We've been backs against the wall and getting results. And today we shot ourselves in the foot. We gave up shitty goals, but we fought back. It showed a lot of heart because this team last year loses this game bad. There's no second half where we bring it back together. We probably get blown out because Leeds were having that new manager bounce, or at least no more Jesse Marsh. I guess they didn't rate him. But matches are coming, and now it's about stopping the slide and getting 3 points because they don't get any easier. All the matches of the Premier League, they're tough as they come.
It isn't an easy league. And look, I get it. People are pissed about this result. I'm actually I'm happy about the result. We got the point. We were down 2, started the second half, let in a goal. You usually don't get a point from that game, and seeing the team fight at home in front of the Stretford End and seeing the crowd buzzing and them going on for the third, that's showing there is United DNA in these players. They do deserve to wear the kit. My frustration lies on how thin our team is and some of the quality that we're having the quality issues in our roster. It's really unfair because we're in this top 4, we're in a title race for a day. The potential is there for United, and we just don't have the quality in the bench. We have Iqbal on the bench, sir. I mean, come on. It's you look at what we have, and look at who we're competing with. So, maybe I go hard in on some players a little bit, but at the end of the day, it's a quality issue for me, and that lies at the feet of the Glazers and their horrific ownership that is coming to it at Manchester United that we will talk about. But what do we know, sir? We're just a bunch of Muppets on the couch arguing with each other. Let's check in with the manager, Erik ten Hag.
The way the game played out, is that a good point in the end?
Yeah, of course. When you 2-0 down and you fight back, it shows the character of the team. So well done, and we scored great goals, great team goals, but of course also individual contributes from Messi and a good cross in from Diogo, and the second goal from Jadon Sancho, who came in really well. So we're really happy for him. I think that's individual moment of glory, and he fight back after a bad period. So that was really good for the team, also for the future.
Yeah, when he scored the goal, you could see the reaction of the players. It clearly meant a lot to everybody that Jadon Sancho got his first goal back.
Great goal, and everyone is happy for him. And we need him. He can contribute, he can create. I think this team is much better than in the first season half. We will play a lot of more on opponent's half. We have seen today. We create so many chances because we're playing on opponent's half. We're dictating the game.
Did you miss Casemiro tonight?
I want to talk about the 11 players who were on the pitch, and the 11 players didn't start well each half, and is unacceptable. That you start every game, but in particular a derby. You can't start a derby like this by not front foot, losing challenges, easily getting and conceding chances and goals, and that's frustrated. But we have to accept it. But we have to do it Sunday better.
Yeah, speaking of
The man is not one for excuses. Happy with the point, but was not happy with the way United showed up in the first half. And, he commends the individual brilliance of Marcus Rashford with that great finish, but it was a good team goal. He talked about all the possession we did have. We did create quite a few chances. They only had 2 shots on net, and they got 2 goals. So I'd be curious to see the XG of that, but XG don't matter. It's about 3 points. It's about goals. And it's a frustrating one, but we get an opportunity to get some revenge very, very soon. As of this Sunday, it's going to be a harder place to play because we're playing away, Ellen Road. They're a charming bunch. I'll tell you what, there are all kinds of awful things they were saying during the game, but that's Leeds because it's Leeds scum, and everybody hates Leeds scum.
We all hate Leeds scum, and that's right. Our next match is Leeds versus Manchester United, Ellen Road. War of the Roses rivalry hits it again Sunday, February 12th, 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern. We've won 49, drawn 36, lost 26 versus Leeds. Obviously, we just drew, so we have 1-3, drawn 2 in the last 5. So, we did draw today. I mean, we have to be doing better. We have to be thinking 3 points. I'm surprised they are like this pumped up. They are having a horrible season at the moment. They're in the relegation fight. So the one criticism we haven't discussed is not only did this team not show up in the first half or to start the second half, but we didn't show up against a horrifically bad Leeds side. And that is a concern. You have to say that is a concern. This isn't Brentford coming in flying high. This is a bad team. Just fired their manager. They have a little bounce, but they came to play, and they just absolutely bossed us in the middle of the park. They didn't have the shots on target to prove it, but we watched that first half, and, man, they had a lot more fight than we did coming out of the gates.
Large parts of it, I think we shot ourselves in the foot repeatedly. We gave the ball away, we passed the ball away, we played with no composure on the ball too quickly sometimes, and we just played right into their hands. I do think I rate the Americans that are playing in that squad. Aronson came in, hit the post, even though I think De Gea had that covered at the outside of the post. But it's a big opportunity for United to, like I said, get some revenge. They got the new manager bounce. How do you feel about seeing Chris Armas and the freaking AirPods getting one on Manchester United? How the world turns. We lick our wounds. We move on from this. On to the next one. It's we can't worry about how shit we played. We got to talk about what we're going to do on Sunday. And what we're going to do on Sunday is fix the mistakes that were made in this game because we know who we're playing. We're playing the same team. And the new manager bounce, even if they don't have a new manager bounce, is a real thing. It's dude, they obviously didn't like Jose. It always happens. It's manager gets fired. What happens if we fired Jose?
No, they came in,
but you could put anybody in, and we would have just started playing better. It's just what happens when you have a manager that's not clicking and you get rid of them.
No, they came to press us high at Old Trafford, and it worked. It's something probably we didn't expect. They came at us from the jump, scored the goal, and they were off to the races. We were like deer in the headlights, defense snoozing, midfield couldn't hang. And Ten Hag has a lot to do in a short amount of time. This is 2023. We play every 3 days, basically every 3 or 4 days. We have to play them again. It's not going to be easy, but at least they've played midweek as well. So they're not well rested to play at home. But if we had to start like that on the road in a long season, totally fine. At home, that is what gets me fired up a little bit. When you said this result kind of got to you, it's the playing at home that they should be afraid, not the other way around. So we got to really put our mark on them. Jump into the injuries here. Donnie's out. Eriksson out till April. Casemiro suspended. He's got 2 more games to serve. McTominay's out. Could be back late Feb. Anthony, he could feature this weekend. It's a hammy thing. Not a lot of color there. Martial as well. Just nothing about when he's coming back to Manchester United. We could use him, like we said, wow, just undroppable, but I think he will be dropped. I think Ten Hag will drop him and play Marcus Rashford at number 9 after that second half because it was as clear as day. Sure, he's a great guy, but as far as what we need at this team to score goals and win games, it ain't the tall tree yogging around. Given those injuries, what is your lineup here?
Dave saves in net. I think AWB is back in the fold. It's going to be Varane, Martinez, Shaw.
Midfield.
Fred, I know. It's like he's got to put Fred in. It's going to be Fred, Sabitzer, Bruno, Rashford up front, Sancho on the left, Anthony on the right. What do you got, sir?
I got Dave saves, world number 1 in net. I have AWB, Varane, Martinez, Shaw. I'm going to do Fred, Lindelof, Bruno, Rashford at number 9, Sancho on the left, and it's going to be Palestri on the right. I don't think Anthony will be ready to go for the weekend. And you can play Fred, but you need somebody who's going to do all the dirty work behind him. And the fact that Lindelof knows how to play those tight passes in the back, I think it's just you got to play him there just to get by. You need to shore it up. You can't playing Fred Sabitzer was just wide open. You need some more, like, even if you put Lindelof at center back and Martinez there, you need something to stabilize the team. We're dying for that CDM, that Casemiro figure in this side. Booking the bookies, what are the odds?
United favorites once again with you're going to get plus 320 for Leeds at home, plus 290 for the draw, and minus 125 for Manchester United to get the win. Given those the odds, what is your score prediction?
I'll say 2-1 to United.
Yeah, I think 1-0 United get a result. They mix it up. I think this is where you see Erik ten Hag shine. He's a tactical, astute coach. He knows what he's doing. He's gonna change it up in the midfield. I think he's gonna change it up front, and I think that will be the difference on Sunday.
He does learn from his mistakes, and this game is all about how we come out, right? It's okay to have one game where you miffed it. You get a point, whatever. Hey, that was, a lot of factors there. Ten Hag's got to learn from that. He's got to pick a starting 11 that will not make the same mistake, and he's got to get his side up for not making the same mistakes and starting this game against Leeds with a ton of piss and vinegar. And I bet you're going to see that. You're going to see all of that because in Erik ten Hag we trust. We've seen it so many times. He will rotate. He will get it right, and this team will come out punching on Sunday. So I'm confident he will get it right. And that's maybe why I'm not so – everyone seems so pissed about this result. But it's like, look at where we are. Look at what we're doing. You got it. You can make mistakes, but it's all about how you fix them, how quickly you can turn around. We talked about Ole. He just went on a slide, could never turn it around. Seeing us show up on the money on Sunday is what Ten Hag is all about, and I believe that we will.
It's going to be a good one. Let's get into some news.
United in the news.
And there's lots of it.
Not a lot of news.
Right.
The news has been firing
lately.
God. Usually we're like trying to scrounge up stories to talk about. So no joke, this morning Alex and I run this mountain. It's about like 1,500 feet. We run up the mountain, down it, and then up it and back. And in the morning at like 5:30, it's dark outside. We have headlamps.
They're hills.
Freezing.
They're hills. You're giving us too much credit. Mountain. Mountain. I love that. Like our boys in Norway would be like, you call that a mountain?
The name is mountain. There's a mountain in the name of it, so it is technically a mountain. So it's not a hill, but we're running uphill and we're yelling at each other about the Qatari investment bid for Manchester United. I don't even know why. It's probably the circumstances of the running up the hill that early when it's that cold.
Yeah.
I don't think we disagree on this at all, but I'm just telling you that if you're wondering why we have a podcast or if the banter is real, like at 5:30 in the morning when it's dark and we're running up hills, we're just yammering on about Manchester United. So that is our life. That is why this podcast exists. So I thought that would be a good backstory. Here, Twitter and all the Muppets are going nuts over the Qatari investors will bid for Manchester United within days. I'm going to try to provide some color here. This is a sale process. In a sale process, you give access to certain potential buyers. You have conversations. Avram Glazers has a presentation. He meets with them. This is Manchester United. We're selling it. Please buy. They say, okay, we're interested. They get access to the data room. They look at some documents to understand like the contracts of the players and stuff like that. They get some more information. Then after they've done the preliminary diligence work, they say, okay, how much is it worth? And this is what we're going to pay. And you put it on a piece of paper, like an LOI. Submit it to the rain group.
What an LOI is, sir, to the
It's a letter of interest where you say, hey, we're interested in buying the asset for this amount of money. And, these are the details of the transaction as we see it. Just like usually 2 pages, high level outline of how you would buy it and how much you would pay, right? And that way everyone submits these letters and then the Glazers can compare them and look at the price that people are willing to pay and the conditions of each offer. Jim Ratcliffe went public with his bid. He said, I am bidding for Manchester United. So he is submitting an LOI. Obviously, we do not have the details of that. And the Qatari investors are submitting an LOI as well. As far as the details of the LOI, we have no idea. Like it's private information, but they're going public saying they're going to bid for them. Now, other buyers are doing the same work the Qataris are and the same work Jim Ratcliffe is, but they're not announcing it to the press. So you should be aware that this is an iceberg and you're looking at the tip of it because the amount of people that are in that data room who are doing diligence to work on bids for buying Manchester United, there's probably more than just 2. But the way you would think about it, based on all the commentary from the English press and all the commentary on social media, is you would have thought the Qataris already bought Manchester United. That's not how this process works. They said they will bid. You don't even know if their bid's any good. You don't even know, like, obviously they're really rich. Now, what we were discussing on the run is I was commenting on the fact that if you're a buyer and you're in this process, why would you go public with your bid? And the point that I'm making is you would only go public with your bid if you want to try to get public support on your side, which means you're not going to pay full ticket. You're not going to give the Glazers everything they want. So you're probably farther away from a deal than you would think. And that's the only reason why you would do this strategy, right? Because you don't need to go public. Qatari says, okay, $6 billion, we're going to pay $6 billion. You go in, you pay the Glazers $6 billion. You negotiate behind closed doors, done deal, we own the club. Like, that's how a real deal buyer would do. Nobody needs to play this press game. Ratcliffe is doing it because he doesn't have the money.
Yep.
Qataris are doing it because they could just be doing it for show. There's something behind it, but if you're really focused on the deal, usually you're not leaking it to the press. So this whole leaking bids to the press game is it's like either a hyping themselves or trying to get fans on side to support their bid, put pressure on the Glazers. But it's coming from the buy side. The Glazers are the one who determine what the price is sold for. They say yes to whatever deals they get. So at the end of the day, just not really anything here. We're at the starting line. This is just the starting line. And look at all the news and all the clicks and everything in social media. Manchester United is being sold. It's crazy. It's pandemonium out there.
No, I don't want to get into let's think about the story or the thinking behind leaking this to the press, which was clearly leaked to the press. Ratcliffe, he had his motives. He doesn't have enough money to buy Manchester United. Full stop. He's got $12 billion, which is a lot of money and more money than I'll ever have and anyone this pod will ever have. But it's just not enough money to buy a $6 billion asset and then put in subsequent billions that are necessary. Now, the Qataris, they have enough money. Your points are taken, and they're valid points. But I think what we're going to see is Ratcliffe was first out the door. He is a quote-unquote lifetime United fan, even though he had Chelsea season tickets. And he wants to get attached and say, hey, I was interested. I was in the race. He's never going to buy Manchester United because I don't think he has the cash. Like we were talking about the run. He wouldn't even hit the top 10 richest Californians. So it's like he needs to make it out. Now, these people have lots of money. They got $300 billion, plenty of cash. But like you said, we're going to talk about the city news, and that also complicates this thing in a different vein. Is like, okay, there are always going to be the likelihood of Middle Eastern buyers. They have lots of money. They have money to spend. They want to make investments outside of their country and their region. And they want to do things that will illuminate their brand on the global stage, right? So like the reason Qatar bribed, cheated and steal and pay $200 billion to get the World Cup is so people would know where Qatar is and come to Qatar for the World Cup and make them a bigger deal. Same idea with buying a Manchester United or buying a team that no one had heard of called PSG and then putting shit ton of money in them and getting them to a relevancy point, even though they have won the Champions League. So I think what you're going to see is there's going to be loads of people that are like throwing their hat in it for a variety of reasons, whether it's their own gain or maybe to court support from fans, right? Because the one thing that I want to talk about that probably gives validity to your point, which is like, there's no number quota, but they're like, oh, we have no problem paying a really big number, and we're going to spend a shit ton of money on the squad and give Erik ten Hag everything he needs, reinvest in the team, and the best is like this little nugget that I picked up is like, and we're going to listen to the fans. We're going to listen. They're telling us everything you want to hear. Everything. They're going to pay a lot of money. They're going to invest in the team. They're going to listen to us, and they're going to like make us the shit. We're going to bring us back to the promised land. Usually when it's too good to be true, it often is. But like you said, this process is long. I think more people are reacting to like the big money buyer potential, and also like nation state. Do we want to be another city?
Yeah, but
not different.
It's like no shit, Sherlock. Like rich people want to buy a club that costs $6 billion.
You have $300 billion, and you're apparently the guy, the head dude at Qatar is. Yeah, there's not a long list of people that can afford a club like this.
A
$6 billion asset.
Elon Musk has $300 billion, or he did. But at the end of the day, not anymore. But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to describe is the press are getting played, right? The press are not the people. Like, there's no journalistic integrity where they're like actually telling you exactly how this process is going to go down and who's in it, and then calling people out on these puff pieces are just like literally straight from the advisors to the Qatari investor group, because at the end of the day, they're probably going guns blazing on all strategies to try to get this deal done. And one of them is, hey, you're going to need public support, probably because of everything that's happened with Man City and the bad optics of nation states buying clubs, as well as what happened with Chelsea. And one way that you would want to do that is to tell all the rags to print all these great things. You're going to do all these awesome things. So then there's this vibe around, yeah, we want this to happen, versus people fighting it. Say in Parliament with the independent regulator for football, they're discussing this week as well. So it's kind of a complicated issue, but all I'm trying to say is if you're buying an asset like this, the last thing on the list that you give a shit about is the public opinion. You're buying a $6 billion asset. It's about the diligence. It's about understanding the market as far as what you can pay, what the club requires for investment, the contracts, everything is in the details. And when you kind of go with the PR spin zone, it usually means you're coming in low as an offer and you're trying to win the public support. And that clearly was Ratcliffe's strategy. The Qatari investors have not made a bid yet. They will bid. This is covering a bid that might happen, which is even more crazy. And they're just saying, look how rich we are. We're going to do all this stuff for Manchester United. We'll hold up. You haven't bid yet. And you can't take them seriously because there's other bidders that are just confidential. So take this with a grain of salt. That's all I'm trying to tell everyone. There's everyone's Qatar this. All the press are on it. They're getting clicks. Social's going nuts. Just know they're selling you a bunch of shit because nothing's happened yet. Nothing will happen. They might end up buying them. Every deal in M&A falls apart also before it goes through, because these guys don't make $300 million by being pushovers, right? They're going to play hardball with the Glazers. It's probably going to fall through at some point. Ratcliffe might get another go. The deal processes always work like that, where someone bids really high, then they get into the details, and then they pull out, and then somebody else has a shot. I mean, it could go so many different ways, because what happens is you agree to be bought, and then it takes months to actually close the transaction. Remember, Elon Musk said, I'm buying Twitter, and then it took he actually pulled out, tried to pull out, couldn't, and then ended up acquiring it 4 months later. It's not a straightforward. This is not buying something on Amazon.com.
Indeed.
By the way, Jeff Bezos might be bidding for Manchester United. Let's hope. I mean,
he says he's giving all his money away. What we really need is Mackenzie Bezos. She's giving all her money away as well. But
Jeff Bezos should support us on Patreon to the tune of $6 billion.
Yeah, there you go. I think whoever puts that LOI together, as long as they stipulate that America Red Devils are going to help out in the front office, there you go. There's a winning bid.
No, I would be, sir.
There's going to be hair on it, but also, I don't mean to cut you off again, but there is going to be hair on whoever buys this club, unfortunately. It's like the Glazers were awful owners. I'm hoping.
Well, let's not cross that bridge until we get.
I agree, but
I don't need to get into this whole like nation state sports washing thing because we don't know who's going to buy us. Just because there's one maybe bid from Qatar doesn't mean I got to like evaluate Qatar as an owner. I'm gonna I'm gonna see who owns us or if the asset trades. The asset might not trade. The Glazers might hold on. Has anyone thought about that? There's a bunch of stuff.
We talked about why they can't because of the money. They don't got no money.
Somebody might come in. Ratcliffe might come in with if say this deal falls through, then it turns out okay. Well, then Ratcliffe injects $2 billion, and then there's a path to buy the whole thing. Like it could turn into a whole another to do. Like it's not no deal's done until you sign on the dotted line, and that's what I'm trying to explain. Like Manchester United is not sold yet. It will not be sold until it is. And the Glazers can do whatever they want until then because of the share structure we've discussed on the podcast many a time. So the fact that everyone's like waving the Qatari flag like we've been sold, it's like this is a long process. So it can move fast. It can move in months. This probably will move decently fast. I bet you we're going to know like March, April, kind of who the lead horse is. But it's going to take some time. Sir, do you want to talk about strikers? Apparently Qatar is going to buy us everyone and all these strikers.
We all know Manchester United needs a striker. I know. Wout, number one fan over here, John, is the biggest Wout fan you'll ever find. But
I'll get you a Wout
when he moves back, when he goes back to Turkey, I'm good, buddy. You don't need like the
Weghorst. I'm
good, buddy. You can get me a yeah. Then I will also get you a Fred jersey. So there you go, a perfect circle. The only 27 I want is a Fellaini throwback, but that's another story.
There's nothing quite like a spite jersey to give your friend.
That is a move.
As
long as you know, I'm gonna get you the yellow. I'm gonna get you the yellow third kit Fred. Like perfect. Anyway, Manchester United need a striker. The rumor, and it's all rumor. We're clickbait. I mean, this is the rumor. This came from some tier 1s or 2s. Is that United have top 2 target for number 9? It's the number 1 priority for the summer, which makes sense if you look at the squad. Is that we don't have a striker, right, that can play week in, week out. Harry Kane, your boy. Or Victor Osimhen, apologies in advance, we'll figure out how to say his name if he joins Manchester United. And the analogy that's being comped, and you're going to hate this, but I'm just saying what everyone else is saying, which is like, this is kind of the 2012 predicament that Fergie found himself into, which is like he needed a number 9. He pushed for RVP. He wanted to win right away, which made sense, right? Like he wanted 20 and then to call it. So RVP made total sense, whereas he was also at the time, apparently looking at Lewandowski, who played for Dortmund before he went to Bayern. Now, different situation, but Harry Kane, he's EPL proven, and RVP wasn't winning shit for Arsenal in 2012. Harry Kane ain't winning shit. He ain't winning nothing with Spurs. Who do you want? I think you talked about this last time. You'd prefer Kane because he's EPL proven, but do you think the manager, if he's making the shots, I don't know who the DFF will be after the acquisition clears, does he go for instant gratification or a long-term player that has resale value if that's the way things go?
Yeah, I don't think Osimhen is anywhere close to Lewandowski, who was at Dortmund, who was like playing with Dortmund.
That's not the point I'm trying to get at.
Final. I understand the analogy, but it's not like.
And Harry Kane's no RVP either.
Was
so
very like Lewandowski at the time was like in the Champions League final with Dortmund, like playing at such a high level. Osimhen is just kind of like. He's a new hype guy. He looks good. He's got everything. For me, it comes down to being pragmatic. You look at Harry Kane and the goals he scored. He has an unbelievable record. He has, I think, 1 year on his deal. You could probably get him for $80 million. He comes into United. You're gonna get 3 good years. You put him on like a 4 or 5 year deal. Like he slots right in. Imagine Harry Kane on our team right now with Rashford on the left and. We have tons of options on the right. Anthony, Ahmad coming back, Facundo, etc. it really solves a lot of problems. You could even have Martial on the team if you have a Harry Kane. You could even bring Wout in. You know, they're like, if you have a Kane, like the Wout and the Martial doesn't become as big of an issue because you're not relying on them as much. I just really think that this is how we used to play it. You buy EPL proven, you buy the best player in your rival for top four. That's also a benefit. You're going to kill Tottenham because, you know, we're going to be fighting with them. I think you put Harry Kane on our team, we look great. He is low energy Harry Kane. He is kind of a serial loser. He doesn't show up in big games. I just don't think he can fail with. Imagine Marcus Rashford and like Harry Kane coming at you with like Bruno behind him. I just think that, you know, this solves so many issues. So I would go with Kane here. Osimhen paying, like you saw at Antony. Like Antony looked good on Ajax. Hey, he's coming up.
He's
in the
playing
game.
in a different league. He's Serie A,
like,
the top of Serie A. He's got more goal. It's a totally different situation. Anthony had like 10 goals all his whole career.
Go
it's not
look
the same
at the
comp.
top. You know, I look at you pay big money for these guys who are on the come up. You know, you just get the point is you're paying the same amount of money. The argument isn't who would you rather have. Obviously, you'd rather have Osimhen. The argument is if you have to pay $100 million, who do you want? And I would go with the more sure thing. Harry Kane is decently de-risked. Osimhen is not. You bring him to England, he might not play well. Obviously, the contrast to that is Osimhen. The return is if you can play more years, he's obviously younger. So there's a risk reward benefit here, and I'm gonna, since it's when it comes to that big money targets, I like to lower the risk because Anthony was a high risk transfer, and we're seeing those type of actions usually. Even Jadon Sancho, you would say that wasn't even as risky, but it's kind of turned a certain corner. Glad to see him score today, but I just think with this type of big money deal, number 9, Harry Kane, he's also durable. I don't love it. I want Haaland, but I'll take Harry Kane.
He's 30, but he helps you win right away. You get Harry Kane and it's 11, you could win next year with not that many additional players because he scores goals and he plays for like their Sally soft team. I mean, I hate to say it, Spurs are not a big club, and that's part of the reason he hasn't performed there because they're serial bottlers. But I think it's going to come down to price, obviously, but we'll see what happens, sir. Either way, we need a number 9. It's going to be all about number 9, but it's going to be dependent on what happens with this club selling because if the Glazers do hold on, they ain't spending $100 million on a striker next year. But there is something to be said about spending $100 million on a player in the Premier League. Jack Grealish is aside because you know what you're getting because it should translate. It's in the same league, whereas sometimes making that switch up to England is not for everybody.
No, exactly. And I also think Harry Kane is kind of that traditional English player where, you know, he actually can drop deep. He can play the ball out wide to our wingers. I think him with Rashford would be like lethal as well. And Osimhen's just more unproven. It's just a little more risky. And when you're paying that big money, I think you want to lower the risk. Next bit of news here. We got to talk about it. Man's shitty. The 100 plus
104 breaches. That's the best. Over 100.
104 breaches of financial fair play, breaking financial rules from the Premier League. This one was just like a laugh riot.
Have you seen the emails? Have you seen the leaked emails talking about moving money from the phony sponsors to their account?
Yeah, well, here's the deal. I mean, and this kind of goes back to the Qatari question. This is just it's all a game to these guys. It's all big money ego play. It's all, you know, you get into the Abu Dhabi owning shitty Qatar and PSG. They're just thumbing their nose at all the rules and just dumping in as much money as they want to just try to, you know, I don't know what it's got to be an ego chow thing. I don't understand, you know, why you wouldn't want to run the club according to the rules. They just weren't. Most of this stuff is just them not cooperating or producing the documents, and they're hiding emails from the Premier League. Basically, they're like, well, you have to make an allegation before we turn things over, but they're being really cagey and they won't turn it over. And they're lawyering up to the 10th degree, which is just obviously clearly you're guilty type of situation. Cause clearly some of the emails have already leaked, and the tone of those emails, like you said, is just like literally there's no regard for any of these rules, like ghost money contracts for Mancini out of Abu Dhabi. There's no surprise here. There's absolutely no surprise that they've been breaking the rules. How fair the rules are, I can agree. FFP is kind of BS. It just basically means clubs that had revenue, clubs that have revenue can spend more than clubs that don't, and City had to make up sponsorships to get revenue to spend to try to catch up to United. And like, is that fair? No. But is it the law of the land? Yes. Did they break probably every rule under the sun and like inflate the value of transfers? And they would not be where they are without it. They would not have won the Aguero last minute finish against QPR, tied on points with Shitty when we were away at Sunderland under Sir Alex Ferguson. We lost that, and we wouldn't have if they didn't break these rules. And it's kind of it's sad to see. It really is sad. It's financial doping is what it is. It's like they had a team on the field. They bought Aguero. They bought David Silva. We were interested in those players. They bought a lot of players from a lot of clubs, and
they're
they
paying them
changed
off
the
the
dynamic.
books. They're paying them off the books, and the whole revenue side. It's like we all knew this when they were making them out to when I forget the accounting firm Deloitte comes out with their like top earning football clubs in the world, and Manchester City is the number one. I know United's on a slide, but they're number one. They're ahead of Real Madrid. They're ahead of Barcelona, and they're the number one. They can't even sell at their fucking stadium. We all knew it. We all knew it that like all of these sponsors are like pseudo sponsors, and then one of their new bet sponsors doesn't even have any employees, has like a stock photo of a person, and they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar. It is who they are. Remember, City were breaking financial fair play in 1902. Whatever financial fair play was back then, they were breaking the rules. They were paying players outside of what was accepted by the league at that point, and that allowed United to win their first 2 league titles because we basically took their entire offense, their entire one of their star wingers, one of their star strikers, and put that in front of a good midfield and a solid defense. And they're continuing the trend, sir. And like this is no shocker to anyone, but the whole thing is, like you said, FFP is it's a joke because PSG got away with it and City got away with it before with UEFA. And many people think it's going to be the same thing because they have very high paid lawyers. They like to do whatever the fuck they want, and they have. And it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. But like, and also in the context of us getting bought by someone in the Middle East, I don't know. Premier League have a mess on their hands, and it'll be very interesting to see how this is handled. They should be punished. I don't think they should have like the second place team get their title, but I think they should just have like an asterisk and then a point deduction, and then there's the rules that are actually enacted going forward. But I'm not expecting much out of this one because nothing has come out of the previous allegations, even though we know this is all true, and the emails are insane. They are so damning. It's like some poor finance guy on the City side be like, I need you to wire money from this account on that day and this account on that day, so it doesn't look like it's coming from the same account because it's supposed to be from sponsors and not just from our benevolent owner.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, like, here's the email. I mean, this is
these emails are nuts.
This is Graham Wallace, the chief operating officer for Manchester City Football Club. And it says the subject line is post-transfer window budget update. He says...
You think Glazers are getting this email? Like, we need money. You send us some money.
He says, I will come back to you ASAP with suggested tranches and dates for the remaining £67 million, part of which we would like routed to us from different bank accounts so we may identify the cash inflows with specific partner agreements. I will schedule it all out so you have visibility of what we would like, and we can discuss the practicalities. Basically, like, please pay us X dollars from these accounts so then we can say they're related to these deals, when they're just literally funneling cash into the club and breaking the rules to buy players, like, which at the end of the day cost Manchester United titles. It cost us titles, sir. It cost us 3.
It's bad for the league. It's like
3 titles.
It's bad for the league.
We
City
lost.
It's bad. It's bad for everybody. The cat's out of the bag. It's like Premier League is always
technically. It's 2 titles.
No, it's 3 because it's till 18. It's because it's to 18. It's the study was from 09 to 2018, so the Ole second place doesn't count.
Exactly. It's not the Ole. It's the Mourinho.
Jose would get it, and Fergie would get one more.
Exactly. Yes.
But it doesn't matter. Sorry, sir.
No, but so what they're talking about is, so the problem here is City isn't sharing their real financials with them. They're being cagey with the EPL, and the EPL is coming down hard on them. The only thing that they can do is relegate them. The historical titles are what they are, and I'm fine with that.
It'll be an asterisk. It'll be like Barry Bonds. It's like
no,
you don't need it. It will be.
You can't open the can of worms and go back and
I'm not saying that. Titles. It's just that people will put less credence on those titles because everyone will know it was a sham. Like Barry Bonds and his giant head.
Yeah, but think of this: they won a few EPL titles. They didn't even win the Champions League. They gotta be banished. They should go to the championship.
Banished, I love that. Banish them. Banish them to League One.
No, they should go to the championship. They will literally lose Pep. They'll lose a ton of players. They'll have to build it all back again. They deserve it. And I like that the Premier League is setting the tone, because in Paris, they've gone ahead and just let them do whatever they want. In UEFA, they basically did the same thing. Obviously, there was a statute of limitations there, but UEFA's very corrupt. European football as a whole is letting anyone with a ton of money do whatever they want. And I'm glad England is standing up to this nonsense, because it's got to stop. With Newcastle going to the Saudi Arabian investor group, with maybe Qatar coming in to Manchester United, they got to set the tone, and I'm glad they are setting the tone, and they can't back down. They got to relegate them. And boy, would I just love to see all the plastic Manchester City fans who never gave a shit about that team or watched that team before they got all the money and all the shine have to try to stick through them while they're in the championship, because I know none of them will. Like you said, they can't even sell out their games. They win the title. There's 3 guys outside their stadium. It's unbelievable what a sham that club is. And anyone who says they're a huge fan of Manchester City, it's no way. No way. No way, dude. No way they watched them back in the day.
I'll tell you what.
Sven-Goran Eriksson era, no way they saw
nobody. That. No, dude. Erling Haaland's dad,
It's 10,000 of them were watching them back in the day. It's no way. It's and this is the
championship.
Whole thing.
Send them the championship. Let them play Stoke and Blackburn Rovers.
That will damage them irreparably.
They'll lose if they lose Pep. It all starts unraveling, bud. It's that's
no. It will all unravel. It will basically be they'll just go lose tons of talent. That's the only punishment that will make them. It's the only punishment that will make clubs like Manchester United was following the rules. As bad as everyone says the Glazers are, they are bad, but they're following the rules. I mean, that at least we do that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's most of the clubs are following the rules. City is the one who breached them and then won all these titles, the cups as well. So they got to stop it, and I'm glad they're doing something about it. So we'll keep you posted here, but just don't let any City fans say we're not we're innocent until proven guilty. All it is a statement from a team who won't turn over anything. They're basically stonewalling because they're guilty as charged. I mean, it's
just read the emails. Just read the emails. The emails are insane. The emails are nuts.
Yeah, exactly. You just read them. They're right there. So it's they are we have nothing to hide. We're innocent. It's
are you taking notes on a criminal conspiracy? It's straight out of the wire. It's these emails are so damning. You have to know it's getting leaked someday. That's enough about that, but that's funny.
Yeah, it's but the emails did come about from a hack. So
apparently, so on the inside, Arteta throwing him under the bus, sir. You knew.
Look, that's it. That's the. Oh no, we got fan questions. Let's go. Sorry, sir. Apologies to all the American Red Devils. Here we got fan questions. We've just been yapping too long. At STRSCRM02, quote, sirs, you know that Casemiro would have had another 2-goal game with those Fred chances. Rashford is simply inevitable and happy. Sancho is so good to see. Love to see Sancho happy at Old Trafford. At Jamal Mota, sirs, even at 2-0, I thought we'd go and win it. Feels like an L, but lots of positives in this game. Rashford is still on fire, and Sancho is back. Fred needs finishing school, and Facundo looked good as well. Need the 3 points at the weekend, but Eric Ten Hag has us rolling. At mmmarin_805, quote, fuming when we were 2 down. After gaining a point, I considered this as a win. We have injuries, suspensions, and a poor transfer window. Don't forget about our schedule with the very little rest. We showed our character by gaining a point at Old Trafford. We carry on. What a tweet. Our fans sure know how to take a tough draw at home. And the last one, Ant6C. Nice to see Jaden back on the pitch and scoring. Made a huge impact when he came on. It is too late. Is it too late to appeal the Casemiro red card, sir? What do you make?
Yes, it is. And we shouldn't, because you know what? It's not worth the risk of missing the EFL final. And that's why they didn't do it. They didn't do it because they probably didn't think they're going to win. And also, if you lose, they can give you an extra match. And it's not worth it. We thought we'd do the job against Leeds. Obviously, it didn't go our way today. But payback, it's going to be a bitch when it comes on Sunday. I want to beat them up at home, bro, in front of those Leeds scum fans. They were singing about Munich today. They were singing about Greenwood today. Let's, remind them. Yeah, indeed.
I didn't hear that. Well, they're Leeds fans, so what do you expect?
Exactly.
Look, that's it. That's the podcast. You like the American Red Devils. We are for fans, by fans. Check out our Patreon page, patreon.com/American Red Devils. Check out our website, AmericanRedDevils.com, AmericanRedDevils.com. Check out our store,
Lean into
AmericanRedDevils.store. Pick up some merch. Support the podcast. Support Muppet Takes around the world. Give us our top 10 cities last 7 days.
Number 1, how you doing? London, England, New York, Los Angeles, California, Chicago, Illinois, Dublin, Ireland, Melbourne, Australia, Washington, D.C., Dallas, Texas, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, of course, and last but not least, Philadelphia, PA. As a former Giants fan, I'm rooting against them on the weekend, but appreciate all the American Devils listening week in, week out. We couldn't do it without you.
You got to take a shot at Philly.
Come on, baby. Come on. Jersey till I die.
North Jersey and Philly don't get along
no,
for whatever
they don't.
reason.
They don't. But if you're a Manchester United fan, if you're an American Red Devil, you always have room here. Doesn't matter where you're from. We just appreciate you. I appreciate everyone listening week in, week out. We've been rambling a lot today, sir. We were hot to start. I think we cooled off. Feeling good.
What a podcast. You got a song for us to finish out?
You know it. We should have played this early in the week, but here we go. We are the Buzzy Babes. Have a great week, everybody, and we will talk to you all soon.